So before we go into the figures, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So Dungeons and Dragons have always had a little corner of my heart because I grew up with these fantastic games right here. Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, which honestly I didn't really play all that much because you had to make the entire party by yourself, and like the best thing about these games is that you have NPCs joining you and they all have their individual personalities and whatnot. In Icewind Dale you create your entire party from scratch, so it's better if you play it multiplayer and everyone can roleplay, you know, just create their own characters, but if you play this game solo it's nowhere near as fun in my opinion. And Planescape Torment, and these are some of the finest role-playing games I could ever recommend to anyone. They're made by Black Isle Studios, which was an offshoot from BioWare, which I'm sure you're familiar with at this point. They BioWare, they made Mass Effect, they made Dragon Age. Actually, Black Isle Studios, they reformed into Obsidian Entertainment at one point, and they made Knights of the Old Republic. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you probably already know that that series is fantastic. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, and Drizzt is actually, well, he was introduced to me in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 because you could confront him. You just randomly met him, and then you could either battle him or just basically say hi to him. And if you battled him and won, you got all his gear, and in the sequel, if you meet him again, he's really pissed off, and you can either make amends or fight him again. So yeah, that's how I first met Drizzt. So anyway, when Hasbro announced that they were making this little Drizzt and Guinevere 2-pack, I was really happy because, like I said, Dungeons & Dragons means quite a lot to me. And while I haven't actually read R.A. Salvatore's Drizzt novels, I have read all the comics, so I have a pretty firm grasp about who Drizzt is. And, you know, I would love the entire party. I would love to have a cattie-brie and Wolfgar and Brunar, and I don't really care about Regis the Halfling, but whatever. And yeah, I saw the figure and I was really happy. He looked really good. I'm not a big fan of the grimacing head, even though it did look really good. Like, I'm gonna use it for posing, I guess, but it's not gonna be my default head. I'm more into like neutral type looking heads, and to my great surprise, his neutral head was actually that of a smirk. And I usually quite like smirks, but with Drizzt, I thought it didn't really fit his character, because Drizzt is he's pretty serious all the time, and he's a drow, which basically means everyone hates him because the drow is renowned to be an evil race, and people don't know that he's an outcast and that he wants to do good and stuff. So yeah, he's got a lot of things going against him. A smile or a smirk didn't really fit him. He's not really that cocky either. He's just like your stoic ranger. So I decided to resculpt his face to have a more neutral, normal, serious looking head sculpt, and eventually I got to here. And as you can see, I resculpted the mouth, and I had to resculpt this cheek as well. And I also repainted the entire head, and I cut out these pieces of hair, because originally they were all the hair was sort of like going around his head, which I didn't really like. We can take off the cape, because the cape is huge and unruly. So there we go. So now the hair can be a little bit more neutral. I really want to make like a fabric cape with this. It shouldn't be that hard. Maybe you can also incorporate a hood with that. Yeah, really happy with how this turned out. I wasn't really happy with the original skin tone either, because it was a very... I have the original head somewhere. Yeah, this is the original skin tone, and as you can see, it's very, very light grey with a slight purple tint. And the drow in the novels are described as being very, very dark grey or straight up black. So I repainted the entire face with Vallejo just black, and then I did a dry brush of Eshin grey, and then I did another dry brush of Eshin grey mixed with Administratum grey. And eventually I got to here, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm really happy with how the mouth sculpt worked out as well. It's not perfect, but I'm really bad at sculpting mouths. And just to showcase, we can swap the hairpiece. Yeah, it's not really all that well painted like up here, but it doesn't really matter because the hair is going to cover everything up anyway. Yeah, here's his hair blowing in the wind. Looks really good. But yeah, with that said, this is a really nice looking figure overall. He's a bit short, but it's actually accurate because Drow, I'm not really sure if it's Drow or Dro. I've heard some people say Dro, but to me that just sounds weird because I've said Drow my entire life. Yeah, they're usually quite short. They're like 5'3" if you use feet, or like 160 if you use meters. But yeah, other than that, I'm really happy with how he's turned out from Hasbro. I think they did a fantastic job with all the sculpting. The articulation is great. So yeah, this really begs for the entire party because, like I said, I would love cattie-brie, Bruno, and Wolfgar, just to have them like take some nice pictures outside. Maybe at least you got Guinevere here. Oops, you got Guinevere here, who she is absolutely gorgeous. I gave her I forgot how you pronounce it. I think it's Mileki, the goddess that Drizzt worships. It's a nature goddess, and yeah, at least we got her. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this very sloppy introduction to Drizzt, and hope you enjoyed seeing what this figure would look like if he had a more accurate skin tone and looked a bit more grim. So yeah, bye.
Oh yeah, before I forget, there's an absolutely amazing, and I mean absolutely amazing little, it's like a little narration slash cinematic, but it's all made in like picture. It's like a little motion comic, I guess, narrated by Benedict Cumberbatch. And he's essentially reading a drow lullaby, like a nursery rhyme almost. And it's really dark and twisted, and it really goes into the lore of like the spider goddess Lolth that the drow serve. And yeah, I'm gonna put a link in the description just because it's so good, and maybe it will get you more hooked into the world of D&D. So yeah, if you're still here, then thank you for sticking around this long, and thank you for watching. And as I said, please, I do it for your own good. Watch that cinematic. It's so worth it. Bye!